Hello, and welcome to the Man, the Myth, the Legend, the podcast. I'm Lexi.
And I'm Maggie, and we're just a couple of gals who are interested in classics.
In no way, shape, or form are we experts. I just took a couple courses in classics and just very interested in it.
So join us for a couple of beverages and the learning process. Hey, cheers. What are you drinking, Lexi?
I am drinking Arlene's wine.
God.
That's been in here since I think I graduated back in May. But it wasn't open, question mark. So I'm drinking a sweet peach wine that is way too much sugar and I'm gonna be hungover tomorrow.
Okay, just drink a lot of water.
What did you drink?
I'm drinking, I can never pronounce it, Caprico Sangria. I drank this a lot in my undergrad.
See, I didn't hear about it until like my final year of college, and I still haven't drank it.
Well, it's 13.9% alcohol, so this is what I would drink to get
Let me guess, drunk?
ready to go out. And I would take one with me, and I'd have 2 drinks the entire night. So,
Can't relate.
What?
I said can't relate.
I know we had different undergrad experiences. Anyways.
Literally cut to me just inserting videos of me.
She's trying to get soup.
Okay.
I don't think I have any bad videos of me in my undergrad.
You want to know who we're learning about this week?
Tell me about who we learned about this week.
Week number 2 is Julius Caesar.
So you know what this means? I don't know if you can read this because it's backwards, but...
It's not backwards. Any salad can be a Caesar salad if you stab it. Fun fact, you spelled that Caesar wrong.
I literally looked it up.
Caesar salad is EA.
Okay, we're going to redo this.
But Julius Caesar is AE.
I had it that way, and then... We'll fix it.
Okay, it took me until, I think, my junior or senior year in college. Yes, that is right. It took me until junior or senior year of college for me to realize that they were spelled differently.
I was gonna every time so I just got this board today, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna do the episode on Julius Caesar. So I'm like typing it into Google and type it into whatever to try and find something funny to put on here for Julius Caesar. And I typed it in with the CEAR or CEAS, and every time it corrected it to the AES. So
because his name is spelled that way, but the actual dressing in the salad is flipped. It's an oxymoron.
Okay, well, anyways, Julius Caesar, here we go. I'm going to say Caesar because your girl learned to read with hooked on phonics, and everything is spelled phonetically and not whatever.
Well, so, just a fun fact, in Latin in Rome, when they were doing things and putting it in tablets and stone and stuff, you can't do curves. So that's why it would have been a K and not a C, and that's why they pronounce it Caesar. Also, fun fact, if you look at a lot of the inscriptions, you see a V instead of a U because of the curve.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of it is based off of what can we put in stone, not a curve. So,
I mean, they're not wrong.
They were not wrong. So I'm just trying to figure out how they did the S.
It was like the Superman S. Did you ever do that?
No, because I can never figure it out, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay. I was going to say, like, no, you never did it because you weren't part of that age group. We're not even, like, anyways. Okay.
Oh, isn't your 45th birthday next week?
No, it's not. Stop it. Okay, go ahead. Julius Caesar.
Okay. Julius Caesar. Full name, Gaius Julius Caesar. A lot of them have three names. Well, a lot of them have like the first name is like a family name, and then like their father's name. And,
Okay, here's my question.
Yeah.
We're just right off the bat. It's fine. I thought they only got the name Caesar, whatever, when they became like emperor.
Caesar's a family name.
Okay, cool. Go on. Anyways, go on. Start the story, please.
No, it's very similar to like, because I wrote this down. It's a very historic name. It's like Alexander. You know, like Alexander the Great. Caesar's similar to that.
Oh, okay.
But I have to burp. Excuse me. So he is a product of Rome.
Okay.
He was born either on the 12th or 13th of July.
That's okay. Julius July. I'm here for it. I love the whole July thing. Fan of it.
100 BCE. So a while after Rome was founded, they had power and whatnot. And then
What year was Rome founded?
753.
753. Okay, 753. So not 600. I mean, yes, BCE.
6 years.
Okay, cool.
His family was a patrician family, so they weren't like peasants, but they weren't like royalty. And their family traces back to Aeneas, who is the other foundation myth of Rome. And Aeneas' son was Julius, so that's how they got that name, Julius.
Okay. So Aeneas' son Julius is not Julius Caesar.
Mm-mm.
It's a different Julius. So he's like named after a family relative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're good.
And so, and that's why he thinks that he has this like divine intervention, because Aeneas' mom was Venus.
So he thinks he's entitled because of his mom and dad, or at least his mom.
AKA Aphrodite.
Great.
Like I said before, the family wasn't politically prominent in previous generations and wasn't.
Hold on. My water bottle was spilling. I'm sorry. Just take a sip. Sips wine instead of sips tea. Okay, clean it up. What about Caesar now? Sorry. Mother is Venus, Aphrodite. Go on.
I said they weren't particularly, like in previous generations, they weren't that politically involved or prominent, and they weren't that wealthy.
Okay.
Basically until his aunt marries Marius, who was a general of the late Republic. And he was like a popularis, which is like actions for the people. So like that's how they start to get into politics.
Okay.
The aunt hooked it up. So that's his early life. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so what happened was he married Cornelia.
Okay.
Which was Lucius Cornelius Sulla's daughter, who was like the man at the time. And he had like went away. Caesar married his daughter. And then when he came back, he like forced them to divorce because he was like, what the hell?
Okay.
He ain't the one.
Okay.
And so then Julius he didn't like go into exile, but he like left Rome. He was like, fine, okay, whatever. And then like went to school and stuff. And then he returned back to Rome after Sulla died in 78 BC.
Okay, Sulla is his...
It would have been his father-in-law, but...
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Okay,
father-in-law, but then divorced. Okay, because he was just like, Okay, move on.
So then he, like during this time, so 78, at this time, he's like maybe in his early 20s, in his 20s, something like that. And then we like go on a little bit, and then in 69,
Nice.
9, he becomes a quaestor.
Okay.
Quaestor.
Or spelling things to the wrong person.
It's funny because even in Latin, I couldn't say that.
Consistency is key.
Everything is hard, and that's basically just an entry level for like holding political offices. So that's how he got his start.
Okay.
And then in 63, he becomes the Pontifex Maximus, which is basically the Supreme Court of Roman religion.
So he becomes like a judge, pretty much.
But of religion. Like he becomes more of like a priest, but like a priest with power.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah. And then, so that's roughly where we get to. But then, so this dude's like gaining power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the first triumvirate. Never knew how to say that word. Okay. And basically, it was just, it wasn't like a war. It was like partially Cold War, and then it led to a civil war, which led to him becoming dictator.
Gotta love the dictators.
Yeah. So this happened for 7 years, between 60 and 53 BC. And basically what it was an alliance between 3 prominent politicians at the time. So it was Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus.
Okay, so how do you spell Pompey? Because it's like Pompeii?
It's similar to Pompey, but Pompey has I's at the end. Pompey is just a Y. So Pompey, Pompey, and then Pompey is Pompei. Pompey.
Okay. I just wanted to, not that it matters. So just
not the volcano that erupted. Not that one.
Perfect. Okay. Glad we are on the same page here. Sorry, I keep looking at my sign. It makes me super happy inside.
And basically there was like, it's not to say that there was just 2 classes of people, but they were kind of how like there's a Republican and a Democrat. But you have the populares, which was the plebeians, which was like the regular folk.
Yes, go on.
And then you had the optimates, who were like the conservatives.
Optimus Prime. Just kidding. That's incorrect. Clearly.
Basically. And then Caesar was the leader, like the leading figure for the populares, so like the normal people.
The normal people. Okay.
The
normies. Okay. Oh, gross.
Or the NARPs that athletes at UW would say.
Yes, I understand
that. And basically it was just not like the main idea, but like one of the reasons why those 3 formed an alliance was because they were addressing policies that had like arose in like the different problems of urban poor and crowded reforms.
Mm-hmm.
And they promoted all these things that would help them, specifically with the redistribution of land for the landless poor, and then farm and debt relief. Debt was a big thing back then, and I don't understand why, because I'm like, how you owe somebody and y'all basically living on dirt? Like, I don't get it.
Gold.
But it was just a lot of debt.
Okay. So Julius Caesar was like the high judge priestess guy of this group.
Right.
Okay.
So Caesar was the priest, basically. So he had in with all the regular people, with the plebeians. Pompey was, I have this on here. Pompey was the greatest military leader at the time.
Okay.
And then Crassus was extremely rich.
Okay.
So it's like you have the people on your side, you have somebody who has military knowledge, plus you have somebody who's rich. So it's like, The trifecta of bullshit.
Put it in one person. Here for it, but it's not one person. It's in three. So go on. I'm listening.
And they also challenge the power of the nobles, which were exerted over the Roman politics through the Senate. So basically, they wanted to challenge the Senate, which was just a group of old men who were like making laws. Oh my God, that sounds like our Senate.
Old men making laws. I love that. I love it so much.
And the origin of the process that led to Caesar seeking an alliance with Pompey and Crassus traces back to the Second Catiline conspiracy when Cicero was consul. Cicero, my homie, dude, the Catiline conspiracies are nuts. I took a whole class on Roman conspiracies. They make our conspiracies look like garbage babies.
Well, there was so much more. Well, I was going to say there's so much more unknown then.
Yeah, no, well, a lot of the Catiline conspiracies, because the fact that I just said the second means that there was a first Catiline conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many layers to it, and then like with the layer, which like basically is a conspiracy. Of course, there's a ton of layers, but like you break down one layer and you're like, dude, that's sick, but it ties to another layer, and you're like, oh no.
Truth be told,
It's the only reason I went to that class.
Okay, truth be told, I want to like understand conspiracy theories more, but it's too much and I can't handle it.
My favorite conspiracy, because we didn't talk about it was ancient conspiracy theories. We didn't get into any modern ones, but the only modern one that we had talked about in that class was the conspiracy.
Aliens.
What?
Aliens.
No. That's not a conspiracy. That's real.
That's 100% true.
No, it was about how there's a conspiracy on how whenever there's like some type of like the NFL or something is rigged to the point where the team that wins is tied to something that happened in that area.
Oh, yeah. So, like, it's the correlation.
But, like, after 9/11,
The New York.
the Patriots won.
Oh, no, not the New York team.
Even though they're in freaking Boston. But the Patriots won because it's patriotic. Or after Hurricane Katrina, the Saints won down in New Orleans.
Yeah, no, I've seen that, and yes, I know what you're talking about. 100%, I get that.
And I couldn't not think about it this recently, like when the Lakers won, and I'm like, well, Kobe died.
Oh, duh.
And the Dodgers just won.
I know. All right, Kobe.
And the Dodgers just won the World Series, so it's just like,
it's just not fair.
I was trying to figure out what happened in 2011 for the freaking Packers to win.
I don't even know. We're just going to move past it. So, conspiracy theories. It was the second conspiracy theory in whatever.
Of Catalan, basically. So, yeah. So, that happened back in 63. So, like, early in his reign as Pontifex Maximus. So, like, early with that, but like still.
Okay.
So there's all these different things going on that they are tied together. So the reason that this alliance kind of stuck was because Julius Caesar's daughter, married Pompey.
Oh. So they're trying to, like, was it strategic?
It was strategic in a way where Caesar was probably like, okay, if you marry him, he can't get mad at me for something that I do. And Pompey was just like, but he has the people on his side. I'm going to marry her to keep him on my side, even though I don't necessarily like him.
In-laws.
Not even in-laws, just like nobody really liked Julius Caesar as a person.
Wait, what was Cleopatra? Didn't him and Cleopatra have a thing? Oh. Oh. Okay.
So basically, So basically, Caesar just wanted to expand the Roman Empire. So did Pompey. So did Crassus. So they were all like, okay, let's go after Gaul and Illyria. Gaul, aka France, and Illyria didn't know it was a real place because all I remember is hearing it in "She's the Man" because it was the name of one of the schools, and I was like, Interesting name. But no, it was a place back then.
Okay.
And then there is this conference where they ended up acquiring Spain, and that went to Pompey, and Crassus got Syria.
Okay.
Like Middle Eastern shit.
Gotcha.
And then the end of the first triumvirate was basically the death of Crassus. So Crassus died. And that ended the first triumvirate.
Oh, okay.
However, this led to a civil war between Pompey and Caesar.
Perfect. You love to see it.
Oh, this was started by Pompey and Crassus were to be consuls, and then they were to give Caesar more commands for like another 5 years, which would have been fine. And then Crassus was supposed to have another 5-year term in Syria, and then Pompey was to have another 5-year term in Spain. So like basically they were just giving themselves more time.
Gotcha.
And then Crassus' dumbass, the wealthy man, just got annihilated by the Parthians.
Okay.
I thought that was funny because that's like a lot of places they literally use the term annihilated. I was like, damn.
Well, it's one way to assert dominance.
And then the marriage link between Caesar and Pompey was broken following Julius' death in 54 BC.
Oh.
So Crassus died. Julia died.
Hmm.
Crassus didn't necessarily like Caesar before. Caesar didn't like Crassus, and they're like,
I mean, I don't really care about Crassus. I feel bad. Okay, this is gonna be This is gonna make me sound like a bad person. I feel bad for Julius Caesar at the fact he lost his daughter when she died. That's time. Do we know what she died of?
mm-hmm.
Oh, lame.
Lame. Death, stupid. You need a
Death is dumb unless you know what it's from.
So the main issue as to why they ended up going into a civil war is like Caesar was trying to protect himself. Like he was like, should there be or shouldn't there be a date between when he was to resign from his governorships that he had like in Gaul and stuff like that, or like was he to give up his command of his armies? Like the date that was proposed for him to go into his second consulship, there would have been like a couple days or like there would have been time in between the two, and he was like, that's going to make me vulnerable, I don't want to do that.
Okay, so the day is going from him ending his leadership with
like him being in charge of armies and stuff like that to him being in a council position. Like he was supposed to like give over his like power of his armies, but also take this consulship. But there was some time in between from him giving them up and then him being in power.
Okay, and he was worried about that because that made him vulnerable.
Yeah, because he didn't have his armies if someone were to attack him during that time.
People didn't like him, clearly. Okay.
So this led him to infamously cross the Rubicon River into like Maine, like from France into like mainland Italy.
The main island of Italy, which is the continent of Europe.
Not Sicily. I don't know why I just thought that. And then, so like neither of them wanted the war, but like it happened. Long story short, Pompey loses and dies. And then Caesar spends some time like going around the Mediterranean and like just eating up land. Basically, he goes down to Egypt and Alexandria, hangs out with Cleopatra for a little bit. Then he comes back and he's like, I'm dictator.
I mean, after hanging out with Cleopatra, I can only imagine.
And that's when he, and his you know how like, not that there's like war cries or anything, but his main thing was Veni Vidi Vici, which is a name I saw I conquered. So basically, that's what he said. That was after he basically He came, he saw, he conquered. Like,
Are you ready for this?
well,
The number of people, let me rephrase that. The number of males I know with that tattooed on them, astronomical. I know too many.
I know a lot of people with Latin on them, and I'm just like, do you even know?
Well, like, I get it. 100%.
I know a lot of Marines that have Semper Fi. I'm like, you could at least have the whole damn thing for the word.
But that's what they're saying.
I know, I'm like, the whole word ain't Fi, though. Like, basically, you have always Fi on your arm.
Which is not correct. It's always
Fidelis. Always faithful, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, isn't it always faithful? Like, I have a shirt that has that on the back, like the always faithful, not
Fidelis is always faithful.
Fidelis, but that's just too hard. Because apparently Marines eat crayons. Nothing? Okay, cool.
No. So basically, he's chilling. He became dictator in 49.
Okay.
And then the Ides of March happened.
Oh my gosh. So this is totally irrelevant, but not really. When I was in high school, someone wrote the Ides of March stuff. They didn't write it. They burned it into a bathroom stall. I know. And they pretty much...
Like, did they just write Ides of March?
No, they wrote the whole, like, beware, the Ides of March, whatever it is. I can't think. It's from the V from Vendetta.
I don't know. I've never seen V from Vendetta because I'm pretty sure that movie's not accurate.
Okay, well, anyways, there's this whole, like, Ides of March, beware from V from Vendetta. And it pretty much is, like, in the movie, it's not predisposing, but like a premonition of this person blowing up the British, whatever you want to call it. I feel so bad because I can't remember. But they blow up the British government pretty much.
Oh, British? I thought you were saying bridge this whole time.
No, British.
I'm so confused.
They blew up the whole bridge. I mean, they did that too, but
they have the London Bridge.
But they blow. So this person from my high school did that in a bathroom stall and pretty much shut down my entire high school for this one day. I think so. My high school had over 3,000 people at it. On the 5th of March.
Hey, woo! Just
kidding. I still had to go. On the 5th of March, though, there was only, I think, 100 and so many people at
That's not even the Ides of March.
Okay, what is that then?
The Ides of March is on March 13th.
Then the 13th, not the 5th. I don't know why I thought the 5th. But there was only like 150 some people at my school that day.
Walking the hall, yo, I haven't seen you since literally kindergarten.
Right? Like, it was really weird. But, so that's a fun story about me.
So the Ides of March
that I had in high school. Moving on.
It was basically just the assassination of Caesar on the 13th of March in the Senate House of Rome.
Yes.
And his death was partly due to his clemency and his impatience. Both were dangerous to his personal safety, obviously. Because he was very barbaric with his ways in the army. And basically he got stabbed by 60 people.
Okay, so because I knew we were doing this, and I was like looking up fun quote things for my board. One of them, what?
Et tu, Brute.
Where's that? One of the things was just one of the posts that I saw was talking about just like the last time like everyone in the group participated was when like they were killing Julius Caesar. And the comment on it was it's just like the fact that 60 people said they would kill him, but he was only stabbed 23 times.
Yeah, but there were 60 people behind it. So 60 people planned it, only 23 actually went through with it because they didn't want their pussies and didn't want the blood of Caesar's hand.
Okay, solid.
And that's when you get the famous saying, "Et tu, Brute," which means, "In you, Brutus," because Brutus, he thought that was his friend and had forgiven him from all the crap he had pulled before, and like forgave him and loved him and whatnot, and he stabbed him right in the back like a little.
I mean, honestly, if you're gonna stab me in the front so I can see your eyes.
I mean, like he rolled over. It was like, "Oh, it's too Brute."
You just rolled over.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
oh,
all right.
the kicker about that, Brutus was allegedly his son. It wasn't confirmed nor denied, but
Okay. That doesn't make me uneasy at all. Okay. Interesting. So, how old was he when he died?
well, 100 minus 44.
66?
Yeah.
Good
No.
math. 56.
Yeah.
There it is. Whoop, that is.
So yeah, he was 56 when he died. They said that if he wouldn't have gotten assassinated, he probably would have been alive or in reign for another 15 to 20 years.
But that's what happens when people hate you. They kill you.
Which basically you come to his personality and his rep at this point.
Gotcha.
This man was not lovable.
I wonder what Cleopatra had that made her interested.
Some people say he was attractive, question mark.
Oh.
But my thing is, if you look at statues and stuff, they're historically wrong because that's what the person thought they looked like.
Oh.
Like, they're like, okay, I'm going to look at Caesar right now and mold this face out of marble. Like, they didn't do that. Like, the person who it was of got the final say of what it looked like. And they're like, they easily could have been like, make me look young. Don't do that, wrinkle.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the only stuff I know about Caesar is from the little bit I remember from high school. I think I don't remember. But have you ever seen? There's an HBO special and it's called Rome.
I tended to stray away from any cinematic representations of Rome because it's gonna be wrong. Unless it's a documentary, but it's like most of the time it rivals everything that I've ever learned, and I'm like, okay, Mr. Schaefer, is this real or not?
All right, I believe you.
Percy Jackson, very wrong.
Well, I've heard that, but the TV show Rome, I've heard it's not very, but like very realistic as far as what's known. How you feeling there, Boo Thang?
No, I just a lot of classics is divine intervention, and they don't like to talk about God.
Well,
in cinema and film, so that's why I say a lot of it's incorrect because like, what was it? Not Sparta. I think it might have been Troy or something, or like 42. Was that a movie? That was the Jackie Robinson movie.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of like the 32. Whatchamacallit? Hold on.
It's the one that said, "This is Sparta." No, the one with Brad Pitt.
I don't know.
Brad Pitt was in the movie. I want to say, was he playing Caesar? Brad Pitt movies.
This is us. We just look up what we're trying to figure out.
Not Moneyball.
Classic.
Oh, it was Troy. I'm not stupid. It was Troy. We watched like 5 minutes of it in one of my classics class, and he stopped it and he goes, "Just so you know, this movie is wrong, but it's talking about what we're talking about right now." And he went on this 20-minute tangent over a 5-minute clip about how they don't talk about the intervention of gods. And I'm like,
Don't you love it when people do that? They'll go on like tangents that are longer than what you're actually.
I was sitting there and I was trying to stay awake. I'm like, this is a 2-hour class. It's hot as balls in here. I am sticking to this chair. Let me out.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Okay, so Julius Caesar.
Attractive?
Attractive question mark?
Lovable, wanted to be great and known.
But was hated by everyone.
Yes. Political
because we don't know.
ambitious. And
What about sandwiches?
He's politically ambitious.
Oh, ambitious, not sandwiches. Okay.
And then he was very well educated. From that time, he went away.
And went to school.
Yeah. He's also a really good writer, but
we don't talk about it.
But his works were very, like, the things that survived were very one-sided, and we're like, that's not how everybody felt about you, because he paints this utopia, and I'm great, everyone loves me, but, like, nobody likes you,
bro. Nobody likes you, bro. Solid. Yeah, sounds about right.
So now I have some interesting facts.
I love interesting facts.
So that's the end of Julius Caesar. So
I'm always here for the fun facts.
So the Roman month Quintilius, and Quint means 5.
June. May. That's May.
Was the month he was born. So back then, July would have been 5, the 5th month instead of the 7th.
Interesting.
What? It was renamed July. What?
I was gonna say, like, how did it become May and not July?
Well, he reformed the calendar because it was inaccurate.
Remember last week when I said, what about different calendars?
it was manipulated for political purposes, so he went in.
Politics. Okay, go on.
So the Julian calendar is still partially used. Hey, me editing right now. So I looked up a picture of the Roman calendar, like the Julian calendar. It's in hieroglyphics, I swear, and none of it makes sense. And maybe I should just do an episode on the Julian calendar. So keep an eye out. In like Eastern Orthodox countries, so like Bulgaria, Romania, Serbia, etc., they still kind of use a Julian calendar.
Okay.
For like religious purposes. His father, Gaius Julius Caesar, was also a very powerful man. He was a governor of a province in Asia, but like he didn't take it to the extremes of his son. He had 2 sisters named Julia.
Yes.
Julia. Wait. He had 2 sisters named Julia, and he also had a daughter named Julia.
Oh.
Because his dad was Julius, so any girl is going to be named Julia.
Yeah, why aren't more females named after like their mothers? You know how they can be like second.
Women, they had no type of nothing back then. They were basically just vessels.
That's different from now because just kidding.
I was gonna say women's rights, but really,
suffrage. Okay.
So he had 2 sisters named Julia Major and Julia Minor. So older and younger.
We're going musical here.
So funny. So
thank you.
I'm pretty sure it was the younger one. So
Minor.
Yeah.
I'm only guessing.
So she is the grandmother of Octavian, who later changes his name to Augustus. So Augustus, before he was Augustus, his name was Octavian. And
isn't like the full name Octavian Augustus Caesar?
No.
Augustus Octavian Caesar?
He added Augustus. His name isn't. I'm pretty sure it's Octavian. It's like Gaius Octavian Caesar.
Weird. Okay. Are you checking? Is that what you're doing right now?
I need to look.
Oh, okay. There's a she-wolf in your closet. Sorry.
Yeah. Gaius Octavius Thurinus, because he had a different dad, so he went under his dad.
Different dads.
But yeah, so that was him.
Julia Minor, Octavian's grandmother. Cool.
Yeah. And then so back when his father died, he suddenly died in 86.
Okay.
He was forced into hiding when he was 16.
Oh, that's not good.
So this was before he got married and he left again. But he was forced into hiding because they didn't want, because he was basically like, he could have got killed then because of his father.
And then if his father died, then who was going to run? No one. Well, not no one, but there would be like a surge of power, someone trying to grabs it. I can speak. Grab it.
And then he was the first emperor of Rome. Emperor, who's a dictator.
Dictators.
And then that continued well into the Julio-Claudian dynasty of emperors. So Tiberius, Claudius, Nero, and Caligula all have family ties back to Caesar.
Interesting.
Nero, fun fact about Nero, there's a story about him watching Rome burn. Like Rome burned to the ground and he's just playing like a liar. He's just watching it. He's like, yo, I didn't want this anyway.
And it's like setting fire to the rain. I set fire to the rain. Where's Adele? What?
So he held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He held 5 titles in his lifetime.
That'd be nice.
So he was the Quaestor,
Okay.
and then he was the Pontifex Maximus. He was a praetor for a while.
Okay.
And then he was the consul. And then dictator.
Okay. Well, okay.
But do you want to hear about his kids?
Julius Caesar?
Yeah, Julius Caesar, he had kids.
Yeah, hit me up. Tell me about his spawns.
Apparently he had a kid with Cleopatra. It was never confirmed nor denied. And it was Caesarion, which means Little Caesar.
Like the pizza.
Many bad things about that.
Okay, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Pizza.
Oh my God, Little Caesar.
That's what I was laughing.
I thought you were more laughing at like Little Caesar, like like Little Dicky, like Little Dick.
No, nope. I was talking about the pizza.
Well.
different wavelengths here. Food. I'm talking about food. Okay.
Okay, and then you had Julia Caesaris.
Okay.
And that was with Cornelia, some girl he hooked up with. Well, he married her, and then Cornelia died. And I'm pretty sure that that's the Julia that ended up marrying Pompey.
Okay.
And then his adoptive son was Caesar Augustus Octavian.
Oh, because his daddy was someone else.
Yes.
But Julius Caesar was like, you know what? I'll step in.
Yeah, he kind of was just like, I like where you're going. And just like took him under his wing.
Okay.
But he renamed himself Caesar Augustus. And then later he dropped the Caesar because he didn't want to have a negative connotation with his name. Even though he did the same shit as Caesar, if not worse.
So nature versus nurture.
But he did a lot of good for Rome, but like I don't want to be like I don't know. It's kind of like a Bill Clinton thing. Like Bill Clinton did a lot of good things for the U.S. However, he did a lot of bad shit. Monica Lewinsky.
I'm sorry.
Molly and that with makes Monica.
Anyways, okay.
And then there's a disputed thing on like if Decimus Brutus was his son or if Marcus Brutus was his son. Like they don't know. Could have been one or both or neither. Like, they don't know.
It's the whole like Mari, like, who is your daddy kind of a thing. Okay.
And that is Julius Caesar.
Interesting.
We get July from him.
I'm here for July, 100%. Like July, not May, July.
We get it.
May, July. Get it?
July.
Like May, July. Like May, July. It's the little things that I enjoy.
I still can't get over the Little Caesar thing.
I can't believe you thought like Little Caesar, Little Nicky. Like, no.
Literally didn't even cross my mind.
Oh, okay. Oh, Grace. Okay, cool. So Caesar.
Julius Caesar. Close book.
Yeah. Closes book. Done. Nifty.
Yeah, I can cross him off my list now.
Awesome. So information.
Should we do that?
I don't know. You're gonna have to figure that out for next week.
I think I might do a god.
God?
A god, yeah.
The God.
A god.
A God. Okay. That makes way more sense. But cool.
A Greek and a Roman name get mixed up the whole night.
Oh, Grace. Grace.
There's a Packer game. Yeehaw. And I have pizza waiting for me. I'm so hungry.
Still got 15 minutes till the Packer game's on. Well, cool. Thank you for telling me about Julius Caesar.
Caesar.
I don't really care. Caesar. I'm so sad that I spelled his like Caesar wrong. Here, hold this. Here.
Here, hold it back so this can be a thumbnail. Any salad can be Caesar salad if you stab it enough. It's too brute. We get it.
Did you get it?
Yeah. I don't have to screenshot it. When you upload to YouTube, it screen grabs like the moment you stop for something long enough.
Oh, okay.
Okay, get that off your nose. Until next week.
This was so fun. Thank you for teaching me. I know I've said that before. I'm so excited. What?
I just smiled. I literally just was like,
I can't wait for next week. I'm super excited already, and I don't even know what it is.
I'm not gonna tell you until Wednesday, or should I keep it a secret until Thursday?
I don't know.
I can't keep. Well, I have to send you a picture of the thing, so I probably won't.
Classic. All right. Well, this was fun.
Straight up not happening.
Thank you for joining us and experiencing Julius Caesar through Alexis's eyes.
See you next week, brofs.
Yeah. Next week. All the fun. Deuces.
Bye.